Alright, hello everybody. In this video we're going to cover installing the ball joints in the lower control arms. What we are looking at here are the rear lower control arms, and the one here on the left is actually upside down, and then the one here on the right is facing up. And this happens to be the passenger side lower control arm. And the way it works is these ball joints get inserted into the A-arm or up through the A-arm, depending upon, I guess, the vantage point here. So that's what we're going to do in this video. The first step is, these ball joints, these are General Motors ball joints. They're heavy duty. These are the street ball joints. And because I'm building a street car, I think these will work out just fine. Let's see, what I do is I coat them with this silicone grease, and that allows the bellows to push through the aluminum holes. Otherwise, this gets caught up, and it's sort of difficult to get those ball joints through. So that'll be the first step. I'm going to coat those in grease, and then we'll push them through the A-arms. Okay, well at this point I have the silicone grease applied to the bellows of the ball joint. The next step, before I actually install them in the control arms, I want to coat this surface with anti-seize. And if you notice here, the anti-seize comes with this brush, but it's got very stiff bristles and it's sort of big. I just use this artist brush with the anti-seize, and you can more accurately apply it and create less of a mess. So that's what I'll do next. Alright, so you can see we've got the anti-seize applied to the steel base, and now we'll push these through the control arms and secure them with the bolts. These bolts are 5/16, and we'll wind up torquing them to 22 pounds. We'll also apply anti-seize to the washers as well that come in contact with the aluminum lower control arm. Alright, we got the ball joints in. It does take some force to get those bellows through the hole. This one, I actually had to put some more silicone grease on. This one went in a little easier. But you want to have both of these larger bellows clear the control arm. It's easy to get this second one stuck in the hole, but you want to make sure that comes all the way up so it fills up with grease and protects that ball joint. Okay, we'll install the bolts and torque it up, and we'll call it a wrap. Okay, well, before we install the nuts and bolts to tighten the ball joints, I do apply the anti-seize not just to the washers like I mentioned, but also to the shoulders of the bolts, so there's just no galling whatsoever with the steel and the aluminum. Alright, well, here are the finished lower control arms. We've got the ball joints installed and torqued. Let's see, a couple things to point out. I mean, these are, this is the bottom side of the A-arm, this top side. You can see the bolt heads are on the bottom side and the nuts go on the top side. Also, the ball joints come with the Zerk fitting. I installed that in there as well. And it went together, pretty easily. Okay, so the next segment will be a quick look at the front A-arms assembled. Okay, well, for the sake of completeness, I'll show the assembled front A-arms, just to see the orientation of everything, which way the bolts go, which way the ball joints are installed. Also, you can see the Zerk fitting. And I have some rubber caps on order. They're nice to keep these clean so they don't clog up. Okay, let's see, before we call it a wrap, one of our viewers, Kelly, he requested some shots of the overall chassis. He mentioned, all your videos are, you're really comprised of a lot of close-ups, and yeah, I've been consumed with basically assembling all these parts, and he requested some shots of the full chassis, so I thought that was a great idea. So I will segue over to the garage and we'll take a look at the chassis and see what it looks like at this point in the build. Okay, well, this segment is for Kelly. This is what the Superlite Coupe chassis looks like at this stage of the build. We'll take a look around. I mean, just getting a glance of this thing, once the roll bars are inserted and the suspension's on, I mean, it's probably the prettiest looking chassis of any car, production or kit car out there. It really is a cool looking car, even without the body. But anyway, you can see we've installed the front compartment. The radiator is a work in process. So I've got that protected with some cardboard. We just installed the steering rack. We've got all the suspension pickup points installed. You see some suspension components in here. I haven't really completed all the videos with regard to all the suspension components, but we're getting close to putting them all on the car. Take a peek under there. You see that power steering column that I installed a while ago. You've got the rear chassis brace and the rear pickups, and then also very early on in the build, I did the modification to the fuel tank so I could use a stock Camaro fuel pump. And for inspiration, I mean, I have the full body assembled on the body buck, so I take a look at that, and that really gives me the motivation to get to work on the car and get it finished. Okay, so with that being said, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Thank you for following along, and take care, everybody.